Join us for a driving review of the Kia e-Soul. Let's go! Here in the front, the new Soul generation, you can see here, very slim how the LED standard now. Headlamps are oriented also with the LED daytime running light, and then the more bulky lower shape. 4.19 meters, 13'7" or 165 inches is the length of the Kia Soul, and this is of course really tiny. And you can see it's such a short vehicle, but this building style here, upright from the windows, box style. Yeah, there we have it, also this box styling here in the rear, but it's really efficient as for the usage of space exterior-interior relation. You can see here the rear light signature is right here in the vertical way, and technology change here in this generation, massive difference, new independent rear suspension. This will bring so much more comfort in riding if you compare it to the previous generation. Either with the 39 kWh battery or a 64 kWh battery. Then horsepower figures 136 or 204. This one here, the stronger version, 8 seconds to 100 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour. The other one is 10 seconds. And we of course soon more experience about driving this thing. So the small horsepower spec combined with the small battery, the big horsepower spec combined with the big battery. And our measured range, 370 kilometers, 230 miles as a realistic figure. And then here, top part, AC charger, either 7.4 kilowatt or optional now 10.5 kilowatt AC charging, and the lower one CCS 100 kilowatt DC charging. And a heat pump, by the way, is available from the mid-trim levels to reduce that the range is going down when you heat up the car. So one of my favorite features here in the interior is this insert here. This really feels quite nicely, and it's also interesting structure. The top part here of the door is actually soft touch as well, and then the lower part is hard pack. Some slim door pockets, but you can put some stuff in there. Then the interior is also, again, straightforward, not too fancy. You can see it's not the most modern style overall, but modern enough, so to speak. Here the seats, they come with a nice and attractive mix of fabric on the inside. They keep you cool in summer and warm in winter. And then a leatherette, they call it Sofino at Kia, on the outside, so animal-free materials, also with a nice Soul stamping in here, so a solid job. Let's get inside, and this Kia Soul, Kia e-Soul, the cool thing is you have an upright seating position. It's not a long vehicle, it's rather tiny, but you sit so upright and so comfortable, even as a tall person. Seat lowest position, 1.86 meters or 6'1", plenty of headroom left, no problem. Steering wheel here, controlled in and out, up and down, easy solution. So quite solid what we see and feel here, and such an open space feeling. They're really using the space they have. The exterior-interior relation is just superb, and again, a great comfort, although it's a tiny vehicle. Interior overview, again, nothing fancy, but once again, straightforward. This is here soft touch, by the way. Lower part is hard pack, still manual AC unit like that. You can either have a 7-inch screen or topping up to the 10.25-inch screen, the bigger one right here. Soon more details to that. Steering wheel has a good size, also easy to handle. These pedals here, you can control the recuperation. Talking more about that while driving. And you know, it doesn't look too new, but once again, most things can be controlled with a separate button. This is the infotainment system, and let's jump to the Apple Carplay. Really good integration all the way, and 10-speaker, optional Harman Kardon sound system. Wow, really cool. And for this segment here, An awesome sound, I can just stress that. So if you're a music lover, you should go for this optional sound system. Quite bass heavy, so you might want to tune down the bass even in the equalizer, but wow, crystal clear and good surround sound, love that. So this is the Carplay integration right here, and the normal software is so, yeah, okay. And these are the digital instruments, left side remaining range in kilometers, but I also have some shots where I just recharge the vehicle. There you can see the realistic range fitting to the energy consumption here, 17 kilowatt hours per kilometers. That's about 27 kilowatt hours on 100 miles. Actually a good overview, right? So you can see charge and power, regenerative braking, and also how you power, use the power, and then also the speed, and you can also change something in the middle, for example, GPS information assistance systems and so on. So overall a good overview. The head-up display is a simple one. You can see here in this separate plastic glass layer, and it's very small, and you see, this would be the maximum height position for me. You can adjust the position, yes, but still, either I can see anything about that anymore, or like this here would be maximum height for me, for my side, and then it's still like on the hood and not really in the line of sight. So it's better to have it than not to have it, but not like the best solution, of course, more a budget solution. And goodbye. Once again here in detail, so straightforward to use with the AC unit, so cool. This is here the knob that when you really need strong direct heating in very cold winter times. This will of course go on the battery a little bit, but at some point you might really need it. In this lower area also so straightforward, just turn to D, neutral mode, and reverse, and P. I think it's a very good solution. Seat heating also with separate buttons, steering wheel heating separate button, and the driving mode, talking about that when we drive the car. Again, this is what I love about this vehicle. It's so easy to use. And this here, once again, one of the strength of this vehicle, you get in the rear and you have so much legroom. So much legroom as in cars that actually a meter longer. That's really superb. And again, a more upright seating position here also for the rear passengers, and there are also enough headroom left. So this square building style, this is where it really plays out all the advantages. Hardback, by the way, at the inside of the doors, but I mean, yeah, it's not the most expensive car, but we have the nice insert here once again around the door handle. A solid rear hatch, opens quite wide, 310 to a maximum of 1,205 liters. You can fold this one here up. Standard suitcase here, and it will not fit in the vertical way, so that's the only disadvantage. Optional Harman Kardon speaker also here in the rear, and let me give you some measurements. And this is here in the length about 66 centimeters, of course not too long because it's a small car, but here in the width at least a meter, here in the upper part even a little bit more, but in the lower part about a meter, that's good. And the height here to the cover is about 40 centimeters. As for the energy consumption, so our test here scores some 17 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers, and that is about 27 kilowatt hours on 100 miles, meaning this would give us an effective range of about 370 kilometers, 380 kilometers, and about 230, 240 something miles. Like it as a realistic range for this bigger battery, 64 kilowatt hour battery size, the bigger version together with the 204 horsepower engine, which needs some 8 seconds 0 to 100 kilometers, whereas the smaller engine needs 2 seconds more, and then also has the less horsepower tuned engine motor, electric motor, because engine always includes that they say it's an internal combustion engine, so we'd say electric motor, not electric engine, to be very precise. Yeah, so then the smaller battery size, I mean, definitely more attractive from the price, but I think most people want to have the little bit more relaxing range. I think with this range here you can do a lot with the vehicle already. Of course, not long-term suitable really, as for most EVs. When you think about you're like a salesman and driving 40,000 kilometers or like 20,000 miles a year, then it's not really suitable for charging on the way. Especially when you have charging infrastructure at home, it's really cool. So about these EV features. And the cool thing about this car is you have a great overview, everything to the rear, to the sides, and so on. This is so, so straightforward. This is more reminding us of some older vehicles as for more practical building form. The Soul has a very distinctive fan group as well, and no wonder about that, because it's so unique still on the market, and you have an upright seating position. It's a very comfortable ride indeed, also for tall people, although it's such a tiny vehicle as for the length. So great for city driving. You'll most of the time find a parking spot. The only car that would still have an advantage over this would be a Smart 4.2, and that's it then. So every other car would be worse than this as for parking and so on. I mean, energy consumption for the size of the car could maybe be a little bit more efficient. That would be cool. Other than that, it's so easy to drive. You have like a very light steering. You get a little bit of throttle, then reducing the speed again, because different speed zone, then it's being get off again. And yet, you don't have like a super fancy car, like, oh, I'm driving a sports sedan or something, but this is an electric vehicle, then you always have the instant torque from this electric motor. So that's really cool, and it's also a lot of fun. When you hit the throttle, definitely all the torque is directly there, and that's always so cool to experience. This whole driving part is really about what we already told you from exterior and interior. It's not the fanciest car. It's not the car that is evoking the greatest emotions and so on. It's also not the most beautiful car. But it is so good in so many respects. It's just like, this is the pure logical car, and it does everything just right. Yeah, okay, infotainment software maybe found there, but everything else so straightforward to use, and hardly anything you can say like, this is bad, this is bad. No, hardly to find anything bad about this vehicle, and pretty interesting. Now the acceleration, and we'll start. We'll let these two cars pass. Thou shall pass. In this case. So 30 kilometers an hour, sports mode, let's go. $125. 160 kilometers an hour. Pretty good acceleration. Wow. Awesome. And top speed, 176 kilometers an hour. And noise insulation is still quite okay. Of course, it's the upright building style of this car, but yeah, can't expect too much from that. Pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, this was really a very sporty acceleration. So, oh, by the way, consumption info. Yeah, that goes about 60 kilometers, like all the way here. And now decelerating, also good feel in the brakes. Yeah, nicely done. And here about the normal motorway speeds, really good noise insulation. This is also a difference to the generation before, so it's a way better noise insulation now in the new e-Soul generation. It feels more grown up definitely, and they refined all of the details we have then here in this vehicle. Really cool. And now to the conclusion for today with the new Kia e-Soul. This new generation, definitely more riding comfort with independent rear suspension. Also good from the noise insulation. It's a very good suspension setup. So a very neutral, balanced handling. Steering, also good feel. Then a great punch with this stronger electric motor version. And also the range is quite okay with this big battery version. It will not be that sufficient with this small battery version, but here I think also a good price performance deal if you compare the competitors. It's not a car where you say on the exterior it's the most beautiful one. It more is form follows function, a very unique building form still in the market. But you have so much space on the interior considering the exterior length, and this is really so unique about this vehicle. Again, it's not maybe the most, emotionally evoking one, but it makes so much sense This is the strength of this vehicle, and everything is straightforward also in the interior. Nice seats, good comfort, upright seating position. Yeah, maybe infotainment, navigation software could be a little bit more up to date, but other than that, so easy and well to use this vehicle. Overall, a very, very good package. So, what do you think about the Kia Soul, and especially here the Kia e-Soul, the EV version? Leave me your comments right there, and also check out the competitor vehicles. Recently reviewed the VW ID.3, also very interesting to compare these definitely. So, see you there or also at one of our next reviews. Thank you so much for tuning in today.